So, tonight we're starting a brand new series, and we're going to be learning a sefer called Sichot Haran from Rabbi Nachman. So that's this book. The truth is that you all have it on your phones. It's easy to find on Sefaria. That you go into Hasidut, and then Breslin, and Sichot Haran is one of them, and they have it with English translation, and so it's very available, and I'd recommend. But if you like just listening, so then it's totally fine. And I love the sefer. I love the sefer of Rabbi Nachman. Of all of his sefarim, I find this to be the only sefer that is self-explanatory, and that you can learn it yourself. Okay, so it's like usually with all of his stories, with all of his teachings, like there's a lot of interpretation going on. There's a lot of like taking a step back. Like the stories, forget about it. Like everything is allegories, everything is symbolisms, and there's only one story that you can understand without really working hard. Just and even the Torahs, most of his Torahs are very esoteric. Like once in a while, he tells you what he means. Like sometimes he'll have a Torah about that tzarich liot akshan gadol. You have to be very stubborn about Judaism and not to be wishy-washy. Like sometimes he'll say what he means, but like most of the time, 90% of the time, so it's very esoteric things. And if you want to understand, like, what did that say to me? How am I supposed to change as a person? How am I supposed to grow as a Jew? So you really have to take a step back, and you really have to like analyze it. Whereas over here, like, he's telling you exactly what he wants. He's telling you exactly what it is that the teaching, the wisdom, the way to grow as a chassid, the way to grow as a Jew is he just gives you the point. So that's why I find this to be an amazing sefer, and it's going to be a different kind of discussion than we've had, because like the Torahs are very short. Like the see the paragraphs are like here's one, here's two, they're very very short. Like okay, so it's going to be, every class is going to be a lot of different discussion. Not a lot, but it'll be different topics. Just we're going to be learning together and going through the sefer, and hopefully at some point maybe we'll even finish the entire sefer. That would be amazing. Amen. So hello, welcome. Okay, so we're about to start. So you didn't miss anything, and so this Torah, so it's actually like Sichot Haran. It's actually very connected to what we spoke about with Shishit just like 2 hours ago, and and I think it's so unique that the way he starts his sefer, that this is the first thing that he wants you to know. The first thing that Nachman wants you to know, if this is your entrance, if this is your gateway to Breslov Chassidus, so the first lesson is that there is not one way. There is not just one way to be a chassid. There is not just one way to be a Breslov. That you could have curly payas, or you could have your curly payas on the inside. You could be, well, I don't know. I was going to say that you can be jumping on a minibus, but like I don't know if that's accurate to call Nanach Breslov. It's like, like they say about Chabad, it's like the closest religion to Judaism. So like I would say about Nanach that it's like the closest thing to Breslov, but it's, I wouldn't. I often ask myself, like, what was Rabbi Nachman's sin that he deserved, that these should be the people that represent him?
That's a very good point, actually.
Even though there is something beautiful about that, also like there's like, I like the idea of just like laughing at the world, and then just like, because there's something true to laughing at the world. Like this is called normal. If this is normal, I'm out. But there's certainly different. The message of the first Torah that we're going to learn momentarily is that really Judaism is something very individual, which is really something that I don't think anybody says this. I don't think this is something that run in the mill. That I don't think if you go to most rabbis, they say you be you. Just I'm not going to tell you what to do. Just you just do what works. That's not much what Rabbi Nachman is, in a certain sense, what he's about to say. So he starts with the pasuk. This pasuk that we say on Shabbos morning, the pasuk in Tehillim, it says Ki ani yadati ki gadol Hashem mikol elokim. So David Melech says that I know that Hashem is greater than any other gods, it doesn't mean gods, he means any other forces, right? Because obviously there's no other gods. He means any other forces. David Melech alav shalom amar ki ani yadati daika. When he says that I know, what he means is literally just I know and nobody else knows. Ki gedulas habar yisparach. the greatness of God, you cannot explain to someone else how great Hashem is. That even to yourself, you can't explain to yourself today the experience with spirituality that I had yesterday. Okay, meaning that if yesterday I had something awesome, I had some kind of experience that I felt very close and felt very connected. So, and today I'm trying to understand what happened yesterday, so I can't do that. Okay, there's no, and it's inferred from what he's saying that even yesterday I was just experiencing it. But if I would try to put it into words, I wouldn't be able to. If I would be able to put it into words yesterday, then I would have been able to. We have a tendency to, when something is amazing, so we tend to want to take a picture, right?
Yes.
So why do I want to do that? Because this is something that I want this to stay with me, right? So that's our, if we could journal, if we could put our experiences into words, then that experience would stay forever, right? So he's saying that when you have a spiritual experience, there is nothing to write down. There is nothing to keep. You can't take a picture. There's nothing that can really put it into words, and therefore the next day it's too late. Like you just need to do it again. So he says, because it's simply impossible to speak over, to tell over. That the next line of the pasuk that David Melech says that Hashem created the heavens and the earth. So that's something else. That's something that you could explain. The greatness of God, that He was able to create the world, that's something that you could explain. So that's a lower level of praise than what he's describing in the first sentence. Because when I'm saying ki ani yadati, what he's saying is that there is nothing to say. There is nothing that you can tell whatsoever. This is something so high, because something that you can't explain with your mouth. Now he brings from the Zohar. This is a pasuk that we say in Eshes Chayil, that the Noida b'sh'arim baila, that literally it means, speaking about the woman of valor, that her husband is known in the gates. That's literally what it means. Okay, it's a very fascinating thing, by the way, that the nun is, we skipped the nun and Ashrei. And in Eshes Chayil, it goes also by the Aleph Beis, but there is a nun. But the one pasuk that's not talking about her, it's talking about her husband. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing.
Why do we skip the nun and Ashrei?
The Gemara says because nun stands for nefilah. Nun is the downfall, so we skip the nun, but in the next pasuk in Samech, so it goes back to the nun and it says Soymech Hashem lekol ha-noflim. Meaning that nefilah that we're not going to talk about, but Hashem supports us when we're falling. So the nun in Eshes Chayil is talking about her husband. It says Neida b'shem b'ayla, that her husband is known in the gates. But the Zohar has a different interpretation. What's the mean Neida b'shem b'ayla? Now, who's the wife? Who's the wife in Eshes Chayil? So the Jewish people is the wife. Okay, there's a joke that Mashiach, where Mashiach is ready, he's just waiting for his wife. I mean, so it's
the gates of Rome.
It's a joke. It's a joke because because women take longer to get ready for weddings than men do. But it's a deep joke because really the truth is that Hashem is ready and just he's waiting for his wife, because we're his wife and we're not ready, because if we'd be ready then Mashiach would be here. So the Eshes Chayil is talking about Klal Yisrael, and who's Baila? Hashem is the Baal, right? So the Zohar says that Noida b'sh'arim. What do you mean Noida b'sh'arim? Kol chad lefu ma de misha'er b'libe. So the Zohar explains the word sh'arim doesn't mean gates. It means hash'ara. What does it mean hash'ara? It means an approximation, a certain assessment. That the hash'ara means that I can't really say for sure, but this is what I feel. So kol chad lefu ma de misha'er b'libe. I have it using my imagination, of my heart. So my relationship with Hashem is very something that I'm approximating, and everybody has a certain different kind of relationship with Hashem. So the God that you know is not the same God that I know, and so on and so forth. And we all have a different God because we have a personal relationship. Well, unless you don't have a personal relationship. But if you have a personal relationship with Hashem, so then there's something different with your God and everybody else's God. Okay? So this is something very, very revolutionary. That usually when we think about God, we think about Emet. We think about that Hashem is the objective truth. Hashem is the definition of objective truth, and the Chazar Rabbi Nachman, it says that it's more complicated than that. That there is that the objective truth is something that is not really relevant to us, because the objective truth is something infinite, and something infinite is something which is beyond our comprehension, and so if you whatever you're going to know of God is going to be real, but it's not going to be the same thing as anybody else knows. Okay, so this is something which is I think first of all, this is a very Hasidic idea, because it's a very spiritual idea. Okay, you call it a mystical idea, meaning that if you would take that in two expressions of Judaism, if you would have a more behavior, action, mitzvah based, law based Judaism versus a connection, feeling, spirituality based Judaism. So if we're going on laws, so for the most part, laws are laws, right? Laws are laws. Like the laws don't care about your feelings. The laws don't care about what you're like, how it resonates with you, and like tough luck. Like Rabbi, I don't think I'm connecting to this mitzvah of what like. Did I ask you if you're like that? If that kind of in the world of laws, so like there isn't like it's whatever you think it is. It's just, what's the halacha, Rabbi? It's whatever you follow your heart. So somebody once asked me a question. It wasn't the black and white. It was a question of like how to deal with his mother about something. And I told him follow your heart. And he said, wow, I didn't think that was a legal answer. I thought like that's like before I was into Judaism, I thought that I was supposed to follow my heart. Now I'm supposed to ask a rabbi. Like the rabbi should tell me follow your heart. That's so
the heart is really gets all right.
Antithetical. Well, it depends. It depends what kind of heart. It depends what kind of heart you have. You know, David Malach writes that kasvei maluach libacha. That this is the word I heard when I was very young. That the Rashi says in Parshas Tetzaveh that he's not sure about exactly how the ephod looks. One of the priestly garments, one of the things the Kohen Gadol wears. So he's not exactly sure how the ephod looks. For libi, I'm really that it's a certain thing. That my heart tells me that it's a certain thing. So I heard when I was very young that the Weltfrag, like people ask that it says in the Torah, it says you're not allowed to follow your heart. It says don't stray after your heart. So what's Rashi doing? Following his heart. Don't follow what heart. Tell it to the rabbi. And so the answer that David Malach says, that write the words of Torah, write them on your heart. So if you fulfill this instruction of writing the words of Torah on your heart, so then it's very, very deep. If you write the Torah onto your heart, then when you listen to your heart is telling you Torah.
The prophet said that's like circumcising your heart. Circumcising your heart from getting rid of the bad and just leaving the holiness. That's in Jeremiah and Isaiah.
Okay. So there's something in the world of mysticism, in the world of a spiritual experience. So it's by nature something very amorphous, something that you can't quantify. I can't explain to you what it means to have a spiritual experience. Right? There's none.
Is he saying, in a way, is he kind of hinting to that you shouldn't even try to quantify these experiences, just experience them, and don't try to understand it, just like see it, experience it?
It could be. I mean, he's certainly saying that it can't be. I mean, you can try and prove him right or prove him wrong, but I don't think he was like how dare you go against what I said. But I think he's saying that if you try, you will fail.
So from this, would you say would you say it makes more sense to not even try to quantify these things, just experience them?
Either way, I don't think. I mean, I'm not such an artist. I'm not a poet. So like poets, this is what they do. They try to express things that can't be expressed. So Rabbi Nachman is saying that even poets can only do it when it comes to emotions, but when it comes to spirituality, just like no, like whatever anything that you can express is not it. And if you could express it, then you didn't have it. Like if you had, like it's just, you're saying that there's a difference between, so because I'm not a poet, I'm not even going to try. If I was a person that could put into words the feeling of whatever, then maybe. So, but Rabbi Nachman is saying that, and Rabbi Nachman actually was a poet, that he writes a poem at the beginning of the Kutei Moharan, and there's many passages in the Kutei Moharan that are just very, very. He has an artistic head, and he was saying that like when it comes to explaining a connection with God, that there is nothing to explain. So by nature, the world of laws is something which is very by the books, and the world of experiences is something which is very personal and very something that can't be explained. So the fact that he's starting a sefer by the fact that Hashem is something that can't be explained is really the ABCs of Judaism is that Judaism is not just a book of laws. Right? That if Judaism would have been a book of laws, then it would not be appropriate to say that everybody has the follow your heart. It's whatever works for you, and so now what's very fascinating in Judaism specifically is that the Judaism actually bridges between these two, and we say that even in the world of laws, there's also room for individuality, right? And that's a famous Gemara that says in numerous places that Elo ve'elo divrei Elokim chayim. That even though that there's many people that say that something is permitted, many people say that something is prohibited, and there's lots of machlokes everywhere. Everywhere Judaism is always like, I sometimes feel like sometimes people that know it Torah, like the first word that they learn is machloket, because every question that they have, the answer is, well, it's a machloket. So the Gemara says that even though everybody's giving different opinions, but they're both the words of a living God. They're both true. Okay, meaning that we have a whole class about this. I think on something like religious pluralism, and what's fascinating is that because the laws is actually because the mitzvahs, which are guided by laws, are meant as a way to connect to something amorphous, to something that can't be put into laws. So by definition, even the world of laws is going to have that diversity, and there's going to be different ways to look at it. Meaning that if it would have been that the rituals are the rituals, and if you want to connect, so then do meditation, go to a hilltop. Then there would be a disconnect between the rituals and the spiritual experience. But because the purpose of the rituals is to have a spiritual experience, and the spiritual experience is something that can't be defined by laws, so by definition there has to be diversity and room for individuality in the world of rituals as well. Okay, so this is really something very, very profound in Judaism, in the world of halacha. But let's get back to what Rabbi Nachman is actually saying, that in terms of our relationship with God, so kol chad k'fi ma d'meshayim b'libo. Okay, ki ani yadati, that the person has to know that our relationship with Hashem is something that we can't explain to somebody else, and therefore it's something that you really need to just experience yourself, and that you need to just jump in. And it's a miracle that we're able at all to relate to each other. It's very, in the world of actions. So then, everybody, it's very clear. Okay, everybody, we're if you're trying to learn how to dance. Okay, put your right foot forward. Everybody put the right foot forward. Yes. Okay, now put it back. Okay, everybody back. It's very clear what you're doing. Whereas in the world of meditation, that okay, do you feel all of your anxiety going away, coming back? Do you feel like there's not? It's the fact that we can have any connection about any discussion about the world of spirituality is amazing, because actually, there's even as much as we can pretend that we're connecting, but we're actually not. And actually, every experience is completely personal. And Nachman goes further to say that actually, even one day to the next, that even my relationship with Hashem today is not going to be the same relationship with Hashem tomorrow. Now, in the Kabbalah, so they talk about this idea from a little bit of a different perspective, and it's something that we speak about. That it says that if you ever saw in some Sidurim, in Nisach Sfard Sidurim, sometimes some Ashkenaz as well, that so it says that on Rosh Chodesh, so there's a certain kavanah, there's a certain way of reading, not reading, a way of writing Nukudot for Hashem's name, based on the month. Every month has a different way of reading Hashem's name. Okay, there's certain. It's coming. It's good. They got it from the Bnei Yissaschar, but it's really from the Zohar. So there's a certain way of Hashem's name being expressed every month. Okay, it's not just Nukudot; it's also the order of the Yud Kei Vav Kei, and so the truth is that that's in the general sense. It's true that every month there's a certain way that Hashem expresses Himself, but the truth is that it's even day to day that Hashem expresses Himself in a different way, and it's not even day to day, but it's even moment to moment. The way that Hashem is expressing Himself from moment to moment is actually very different. So this is why this is why we experience life differently from moment to moment, because really every moment is something brand new. So there's really no assumption that because things have been a certain way for a certain amount of time, that they should or will continue that way, because it could be that until now that Hashem was relating with a certain expression. We'll call that Tzuriv Yosis, the way of putting together his letters. Open the door. And can you open the door? Yeah. And the next day it's changed. The next day it's different. The next day it's something brand new. So it could be. It's very possible that. So it's very possible that until now, so we're feeling a certain closeness, and the next day, until now Hashem was more Minas Chesed. The next day Hashem was more Minas Hadin, and sometimes it's more Gilei, sometimes it's more revealing, sometimes it's more concealing, and this from one moment to the next. So the way that God is relating to the world is completely different. So that's why the things are very. You really have to live the moment, because that's all that there is, and the next moment is something brand new, and it's another opportunity and responsibility to live the next moment to its greatest, and to be aware of the fact that every moment is something with a new experience, and this is why that I can't really, that there is, my relationship with Hashem is something which is completely unexplainable, something very personal, and therefore I can't even explain it to myself the next day what I was experiencing yesterday, and I have to just focus on that. Okay, so his point over here is that the spiritual experience is something which is very momentary, which is very personal, which is very individual, and it's something that cannot be explained. Okay, so this is I think Rabbi Nachman's intro to spirituality, that you have to know that every day is its own challenge, and I need to find Hashem where I am right now, and not think that if yesterday I was doing something so that has any relevance today. There's a beautiful story with Satmar Rav that one Purim. So in by a lot of places they have like a Purim Rav, like in a lot of Chassidus they have a Purim Rav, and so the I think in schools also they make fun of all the staff, and one Purim, so the Purim Rav was imitating Satmar Rav. And Satmar Rav had a very high pitched voice, and so he was saying Shema the way that the Satmar Rav would say Shema, and so we started shrieking the Shema the way the Rebbe would shriek, and the Rebbe started crying, and so he ran down, he stopped, he turned white, and he said, Rebbe, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean that. I said, no, you're doing great, continue, and he did it again, and the other Rebbe started crying. So again he stopped, and he said, "Please, I don't want to make you cry. It's the worst thing." And so I said, "No, please continue." And the third time, when he started crying again, I said, "No, I'm not going to continue. I can't have the Rebbe cry." And he said, "Let me tell you something. I'll explain to you why I'm crying. That when you're imitating, when you're saying Shema, So you did it so perfectly. You did it. I felt like I was like, yeah, that's me. That's mamish me. And then I thought to myself, hold on a second. Maybe every day when I'm saying Shema, maybe I'm just imitating myself. Maybe I'm not really davening. Maybe I'm not really living. Maybe I'm like, you could do it, even though you're not me, right? You're maybe like you look like you have the same kavanah as me. You're having the same thoughts as me. I said like the same connection. I said maybe I'm not really connecting. Maybe I'm really just imitating myself. So this is like Ibn Nachman is saying that there is no such thing as imitating yourself. There is no if you're like that. There is no such thing. The fact that you did something yesterday is that you can't get back into that same state of mind. That we every day we need to have a breakthrough. Every day we need to have a place for our own personal connection. So
would you say that this is a tool, not so much of a lesson? Like this is a method of interacting with spirituality, not so much a lesson in spirituality itself, but a way to interact with spirituality. Like this is a method of engagement.
What do you mean method? In what way is he telling you a method?
Like to not, I think maybe what I'm seeing is kind of like that this is a tool to interact with spirituality. Don't assume that what you learned today is going to be the same.
I think it's an assumption. I think it's a prerequisite. I don't think it's a technique. I think it's a prerequisite to understand in the world of spirituality, in the world of Judaism, that you need to know that everything that you're doing is a very limited perspective. Okay? So just like you can't explain it to yourself, so he says that you can't explain it to somebody else. Right? So what does that mean? So this means that what works for me doesn't necessarily work for you. What works for you doesn't necessarily work for me. And this is the place where we're talking about like religious pluralism. That just like this room in halacha that you open bottles on Shabbos and I don't open bottles on Shabbos, and that's perfectly fine because Torah is more complicated than black and white. So there's the entire flavor of relationship to Hashem that going to work for some people is not going to work for other people. Okay? And you have people that for them they love to talk about Gehenna, and they and they love to and they love to talk about Tikkun Avrit, and you have other people that they just need love, and they just need and there's Baruch Hashem, we have so many different tribes, we have so many different ways, and so it's necessary to understand that what works for you, it doesn't really work for somebody else. What someone works for somebody else doesn't necessarily work for you, and this needs to give us a place of humility. Okay, meaning to understand that you can really, really never tell somebody else to know for sure what's really good for them. Like just because that just because like you found the light doesn't mean that your roommate is going to find the light. Doesn't mean your siblings are going to find the light, and they're gonna like the fact that like a lot of people with Baalei Tshuva have this syndrome that they need to start converting all of their best friends and their parents and their siblings, and it doesn't work, and they feel it's coming from a good place. It's coming from a place of concern and compassion if I look at myself, I would have wished that somebody would have talked, but there would be nobody home. If somebody would have tried to tell you this, then you would have told them that they're crazy. And so, this is all of the we need to accept the fact. We need to surrender to the fact that Hashem is misneitzes. That Hashem shines down into the world to every single person in a very different way, every different moment. And so, it's all about timing. It's all like when the time comes, so then they're going to be in the right place in the right time, and like it's not your place to tell somebody that's just not there. And so there's different types, there's different times, and we need to be aware of the fact that to give people the place to give is relevant for B'ezras Hashem when you'll have children. It's important to know that your children can't be a carbon copy of you, and I give my kids a lot of liberty. Like I tell them, I think they know from a young age that they don't have to be exactly like me. I don't think there's any of my kids are I mean, nobody's not exactly like me, but I don't think anybody is like the same. Like, I mean, it's joy. I'm pretty hard to describe, so it's not saying much. But like, I think like there's a spectrum, and in my kids, like everyone is themselves, and like I support the fact that they're going to be different, and I think it's important to know that like to give people the knowledge that there's a lot of different ways, and that's really when they're doing so then it's really coming from a truer place. So this is the first Torah that Rabbi Nachman is saying is to know that our relationship with Hashem is going to be very personal, it's going to be very individual, and it's going to be something which is inexplainable, and that's why it's so beautiful. That's why it's so rainbow colory. All right, that's Torah Aleph. Okay, Torah is Tov ma'od lahashlich atzmei al Hashem yisparach. It's very good to throw oneself on Hashem v'lismach alev, and to trust Him. V'darki, and what I do is, Rav Nachman speaking, Kishba hayom, when a day comes, and Meiser kol hatnois sheli, I give over all of my movements, v'shel banai, v'hatluim bei, and also of my children, and anybody who's dependent on me, al Hashem yisparach. Shia hakol kirtzani yisparach. V'zetayv ma'id. I just put it all on Hashem. I give over all of my actions to Hashem. V'gam azai ein tzarich lidreg v'lachshav klal im isnai karai im lav. Then you don't have to have anxiety and second guess yourself. Am I acting properly? Because you're trusting Hashem. Now, what's he talking about? This is something that they actually talk about in recovery. They talk about in AA that the first. I think the second step is to recognize in a higher power, and the third step is to throw all of my actions onto this higher power, meaning to say that I want to live in tune with Him, I want to live in sync with Him, and just Hashem, just work out whatever I need to say, have that. Make me say what I'm supposed to say. Make me do what I'm supposed to do, and then whatever I did, so that I don't have to second guess myself, because whatever Hashem wanted, that's what was going to happen. Okay, so now you have to what exactly does he mean? This does require a certain. This is not a person could read this and say, okay, Hashem, you're in charge today. Where's my cheeseburger? And look, if Hashem, you sure you want me to do this? Are you positive? So it doesn't mean it doesn't mean that you don't have responsibility, right? Obviously, that Hashem gives free will, and the fact that we have free will means that we can really mess up, and we're talking about the situation that a person is actually surrendering his free will to Hashem. That you're taking your free will and you're saying, I don't want to control myself, that I want Hashem to control me. And that's what it means, limsor. To give over my decisions to Hashem means that I'm letting go on the fact that I'm making decisions. So that meaning that every time before I bite into my cheeseburger, so it means that I'm going to ask Hashem, okay, Hashem, I'm not going to decide, you decide. And then you have to listen. And you have to listen to what Hashem is really saying. So this is this is why I think it's very beautiful that this Torah comes after the first Torah, because I can only allow Hashem to make my decisions if I'm going to listen to Him, and the only way I can listen to Him is if I have this spiritual world, if I have this place that I can be in touch with what Hashem is trying to tell me, and this is a very beautiful thing, that the person can be in touch with his intuition, and to understand that when you're in touch with your intuition, so actually Hashem is talking through. Okay, this is something that Rabbi Nachman talks about elsewhere. He speaks about it's a famous Torah in the Haran Kufnan Vav, that, one second, excuse me. So in the Haran Kufnan Vav, he says that when a person speaks, in his Bhagavatus, when a person had Devarim Sha'adam Aymer Ben Olav and Kaina, so Hari Elu Devarei HaKodesh. And these are actually the words of Hashem speaking through me. And so a person that's really in touch with himself is actually in touch with Hashem. Okay, that's why I always say that the person, if you want to be in touch with Hashem, you're going to be more in touch with yourself. The more that you're in touch with yourself, the more it goes both ways. It's like a person should never think that, well, I'm becoming religious and that's why I'm being detached from myself. that it's just the opposite. That the more that you're in touch with yourself, so the more you're in touch with Hashem, and vice versa. So that's what it means when a person is connected, when a person allows himself to have this connection, to have this spiritual experience. Then you can actually listen to Hashem speaking in a very soft voice, and you have to listen. Okay, and so he says. So he says, and I have to be willing to follow my intuition, even if it's not what I want. Even if it's not like my free will, I would have made the decision to do X, but I have to listen carefully to what I think that this softer voice is telling me and where he is directing me. So when Shabbos and Yantiv comes, so I imagine that Shabbos and Yantiv was a big avodah by Rabbi Nachman, and he had a whole davening and a whole tish and a lot of conversations, a lot of shiurim, and so there's a lot of things that he could be very judgmental to himself, and so a person that says, okay, Hashem, whatever you want is going to be, that's exactly fine. Okay, that's exactly fine, and then when you say that, so then you know that whatever happened, that's what Hashem wanted. So how can you be upset? Okay, so it's a very deep thing in Emunah. That one Rebbe said, I forgot who it was, maybe it was Rebbe Mefam that said that if the person that says something stupid and says, dang, if only I would have said that, so it would have been different. That's apicrasis. Okay, to say that if only I would have said something differently, then they wouldn't have broken up with me, then they wouldn't have gotten fired, they wouldn't have that. To say if I would have, who do you think put those words into your mouth? Hashem put those words into your mouth. So if he wouldn't have said those words, you would have said something else, because Hashem wanted this to happen. So Hashem is, how dare you blame yourself? If you're blaming yourself, then you're denying God.
So this Torah is an idea essentially of acceptance on this point.
Mm-hmm.
This entire Torah is just like I said, this is it. If you accept this idea, then you'll understand that everything you do is
right. Now Rabbi Nachman is saying not only that, but to be proactive about it. That before Shabbos comes, before anything comes, to say, okay, Hashem, I want this to be like your Ratzon. Okay? Exactly. Okay, it says. And so to negate my own Ratzon to Hashem's Ratzon, and that is a beautiful way to live life. And when you live life like this, then your life is anxiety free. Then you never have to second guess yourself, and then you know that you have to try your hardest, and whatever comes out, that's exactly. And now, so what I think Rabbi Nachman is explicitly saying is that he wants us to be living very, very spur of the moment kind of lives, because like there's people that they sort of like live by a script, and they know exactly what the schedule is, and they know exactly, like I know, like I'm the opposite of this, but like I know that like there's teachers that they have their exactly what they're going to say. They know exactly when they're going to say the jokes. And like I'm the opposite. I come in and I say, wow, what the heck am I going to say today? But I don't tell you. So some people say it. Some teachers like to say, okay, what are we going to do today? And like I don't think that's so professional. But like so I do it, but I don't say it. and the amazing thing is that's when the most amazing classes come out. When you don't prepare, when you're preparing, so then you're really constricting yourself to like what you thought before, and when you don't constrict yourself, then you're allowing Hashem to talk to you. I think I've told you before that we're learning for a long time. We're learning the Torahs of the Mari 9 of Reb Nachman Chernobyl. So in the introduction, they write a crazy thing about the way that he wrote the book Mari 9, that they brought him after every Shabbos. So they brought him the notes of what he said every Shabbos, and he only took the pieces that he didn't remember saying. You heard it? That if it was something he remembered saying, so that he said that then I was involved. But if I don't remember saying it, that means that I was just in a trance. So he only wants the Torahs that he was just a complete trance. There was something I don't know, I don't even know what that means. Like I don't think he was in a blackout, but I don't know. I don't know if Chernobyl will be drained, but but I don't think that's what he means. But certainly that just to understand what he would mean. Like if you would say something when you're in a blackout, that means that it was not your conscious brain, it was not your cerebral brain involved. So what does it mean? It was just coming straight from Hashem. So that the only Torahs that he wanted to be his legacy, that would be the Torahs that are just straight from Hashem without my involvement whatsoever. So this is that, to allow myself to be listening, to allow myself to, that Hashem should speak through me, Hashem should act through me, and Hashem to make decisions which were just based on my intuition. So I need to be very, very, very listening. I need to be very, what's the word? There. I need to be very, 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 very present. And so this really ties into what we're talking about, Shalshudas. That we're talking about that there's a midah called Shmiras Eizon. One of the Kinyanei Torah is something called Shmiras Eizon, the ability to listen. And so like some people like their whole relationship to Torah is something which is like I know already. I know already. I want to hear somebody like I like going to classes where people say the same things as me. And we just make some kind of echo chamber, and we just egg ourselves on, and that's the opposite. A person that's the way they live their life, that they are failing. That's this is step number 2. The first step, the first of the Kinyanei Torah is Talmud, is to learn. Okay, if you're not going to learn, then you're not going to get anywhere in Torah. But once you're learning, step number 2 is you have to open your ears. You have to be willing to hear something new, and so this is really a necessary thing, that I need to be listening to my intuition. I need to listen to my heart. So he says that after he does this, after he puts all of his behavior on Hashem, please live my life for me. Please make my decisions for me. I want my life to be in sync with you. So then it's very good, and then I don't have to have stress. I don't have to double guess myself, and then he says that I'm always good. So then I don't have to be concerned that I didn't do it right. Okay, because I know I'm living with Hashem. I'm living with the fact that I want Hashem to be making my decisions, and I'm not the less that I'm here, so the better. I'll tell you something, which is this is a little bit intense, okay? But this is I think this is an example taking this to a way further degree, but just to understand maybe a little bit what we're talking about. Something that I read from Rabbi Arla, that the Rabbi wrote, that he's the head of Talmud Saran. Talmud Saran is named after him. There was Talmud Saran is from his son-in-law, but Rabbi Arla is the where it all started, and so he writes one of his books that sometimes that if a person finds himself in a situation that he wants to do an avera, but it's too hard for him, and he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't. On the one hand, he doesn't want to do an avera, but on the other hand, he can't control himself. So what he recommends is, brace yourself, that you should put your head down on the table and say, Hashem, you know that I don't want to go against your will, but it's too hard. So that's it. Just take me.
Well,
die. Yes.
Yeah.
Just take my soul. I don't want to be in this world if I'm going to go against your will. So please, just it's over. And be willing and be earnest. To really be willing that Hashem, if you think it's right for me to leave this world, so please just and then when you pick up your head from the table, if you're still around, then that Hashem has given you the ability to overcome the challenge. Okay. Now I've never tried this. Okay. Because it's not going to work unless you're serious about it. And I'm not there. That I'm ready to leave the world because I'm going to do an affair. But that's why it's a very high level to be so adamant that I don't want to do an affair, that I'm willing to lie, to die for it. But the idea is very beautiful. The idea is that Hashem, I'm giving, that's what it means to give over the reins to Hashem. That Hashem, I want you to control my future, and I want to be as hands on as hands off as possible. Okay? I want you to be living my life and to embrace the fact that Hashem can live my life much better than I can. That the decisions that I make will be much more beautiful decisions. They'll be much more real decisions. They'll be tuned in to the vibrations of the truest level of the universe, and like I don't have to be concerned that I'm not going to be in tune, that I'm not going to be on key, because Hashem is like, it could be that I'll be a harmony. It could be that I'll be like a third harmony, a fifth harmony. It does, but it's going to be in tune with Hashem, because Hashem is doing it. So this is a practical piece of advice, and it's I think these two first Torahs are very intertwined, because if I'm not aware of the fact that there's something very personal, so then there's nothing to listen to, and this is why the answers to questions are never going to be in ChatGPT. Like the answers to questions are never going to be just that what Hashem wants from me in any specific moment is by definition something which is right now, which is that it's never been before, and the way that Hashem is misnaitzes in this moment has never existed in the history of the world, and the way it is for me is not the same way it is for you, the way it is for me yesterday is not the same way it is for me today, and so there is no algorithm that can give us the complete answer. The only algorithm is just to trust Hashem, to be able to know like what is the correct response, and to realize that not to be constrained that because yesterday I thought this, now not because I did like this, now I have to, and to understand that we can be brand new, we can make new decisions every day, and the fact that obviously some decisions are you have to live with, but understand that I don't want to be closed down. I don't want to. The fact that I made decisions yesterday is gonna make me is gonna decide for me for the next because every day is something brand new, and I know I appreciate it when my Rebbe would sometimes give a share, and he would contradict what something he said 2 months ago, and he said, yeah, I changed my mind. And the first time I heard that, I thought that's against the rules. I thought you're the objective truth, and you're giving us what do you mean you changed your mind? And it's that no. I thought about it more, and what I told you last time was good, but now I'm telling you what I think now, and that's very it's very beautiful that there's dynamics in our lives, and if you're the more that a person feels the need to be rigid, so then the more they're being not true to themselves, and the more they're, Rabbi Nachman is saying that the more you're being rigid, the more you have the danger of going off key and not really being in sync with Hashem. So unless it's all that we should be able to really bring Hashem into our lives and understand that it's very exciting, and it's very amorphous, and it's very mystical, and this way we don't. Rabbi Nachman says the most important thing is that once you're trusting Hashem, then you don't have to live with anxiety, because you know that whatever Hashem wants, that's going to be, and Hashem is leading me to exactly where He wants me to go.